The emergency meeting on the Audacity took place in the cramped tactical room, holographic displays casting everyone in ethereal blue light. Lieutenant Costa, his dark eyes shadowed from lack of sleep, pointed to the sensor readings. Their attack formations follow perfect mathematical sequences, he explained, highlighting patterns in the data. The phi ratio, Fibonacci sequences, even prime number spacing. It's like they're solving equations rather than fighting a war. Commander Chen paced the narrow space between consoles. Any species that advanced would have learned to be adaptable, unpredictable. Why stick to mathematical formulas? Dr. Elaine Rodriguez, the ship's xenobiologist, spoke quietly from the corner, perhaps because it's always worked for them. Evolution rewards successful strategies. If mathematical precision brought them victory after victory, they'd have no reason to develop alternatives, Chen finished. The ship shuddered as proximity sensors detected a Correction patrol nearby. Everyone fell silent, breath held collectively as the cloaking systems, hastily retrofitted from research prototypes, struggled to mask their energy signature. We can't outgun them, Chen said after the patrol passed. But maybe we don't have to. She activated the central display, showing Earth surrounded by the crystalline Correction blockade. Hundreds of alien ships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, beautiful and terrifying in their precision. Humans have always been messy, she continued, eyes fixed on the display. Our greatest strength isn't our technology or our numbers. It's our ability to improvise, to think laterally, to break patterns rather than perfect them. Lieutenant Rivera, communications officer with a background in music theory, suddenly straightened. Like jazz, she said. Everyone turned to her. Jazz musicians don't follow rigid structures. They improvise within loose frameworks, respond to each other in real time, create something unpredictable yet coherent. Rivera's fingers tapped an invisible rhythm on the console. The Corrections are playing classical music, technically perfect but rigidly structured. We need to play jazz. For the first time since the invasion began, Chen smiled. Jazz warfare. I like it. The tactical display updated with new information, casualty reports, defense grid failures, refugee movements. Earth was burning, but not beaten. We have one advantage, Chen said, studying the grim statistics. They think they've already won. The Corrections expect a simple mathematical problem. Superior force plus superior technology equals victory. But humans aren't equations, Dr. Rodriguez added. We're variables, unpredictable ones. Chen nodded, decision made. We need to gather what remains of Earth's fleet, and we need to find our best minds, not just military strategists, but artists, musicians, game theorists, anyone who understands creative thinking. She looked at her surviving crew, faces gaunt but determined in the blue light. The Corrections expect us to surrender or die fighting. Instead, we'll show them something they've never encountered before. Human brilliance. Lieutenant Costa frowned. What do we do first? We make them question their equations, Chen answered, bringing up a map of Correction patrol routes. Their ships follow perfect patterns, which means their movements are predictable. We'll hit a monitoring station near Europa. Not because it's strategically important, but because it's where they least expect us to strike. The plan was desperate, likely suicidal. But as the crew dispersed to their stations, a new energy pulsed through the ship. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to prove that human unpredictability could overcome alien precision. The Audacity slipped away from its hiding place, a ghost ship carrying humanity's defiance into the stars. Dr. Patel's makeshift laboratory hummed with salvaged equipment. Correction crystal fragments floated in containment fields, pulsing with internal light. The physicist moved between workstations with frantic energy, his hands perpetually stained with graphite from the equations he scribbled on any available surface. The crystalline structure isn't just their technology, he explained as Commander Chen examined a floating shard. It's their paradigm. Perfect atomic alignment, flawless energy transfer. Beautiful, Really? Chen touched the containment field, watching ripples spread across the invisible barrier. Beauty can be a weakness when it becomes rigid. Exactly. Patil clapped his hands together. Their shields operate on harmonic resonance patterns. Disrupt the pattern, collapse the shield. Around them, the lunar base bustled with activity. What remained of Earth's military had been joined by an unlikely assortment of recruits, chess champions, jazz musicians, abstract artists, even stage magicians, all united by their capacity for creative thinking. In one corner, a former poker champion and a quantum physicist debated probability matrices. Nearby, a graffiti artist spray-painted attack scenarios on a makeshift wall. The room buzzed with the chaotic energy of human collaboration. General Santos, one of the few high-ranking officers to survive the initial attack, approached Chen with a scowl. "This isn't a think tank, Commander. It's a circus." Chen watched a contemporary dancer demonstrate unpredictable movement patterns to a group of fighter pilots. "With respect, sir, conventional thinking got us conventional results. Defeat. We need unconventional thinking to have any chance of survival. The Corrections have given us exactly 89 days until planetary bombardment begins," Santos countered. "These hobbyists won't save Earth." A young woman with multicolored hair looked up from her workstation. "Actually, I think I just did." Heads turned as she projected a holographic display. "I'm Mai, game theory specialist. I've been analyzing Corexian fleet movements since the invasion." Her display showed a complex three-dimensional chessboard with crystalline pieces representing Corexian ships. "They're playing a perfect game, anticipating every possible counter-move we could make." Santos crossed his arms. "So they're unbeatable." "In chess, yes," May grinned. "But what if we stopped playing chess and started playing poker instead? What if we bluffed?" Dr. Petal rushed over, eyes widening as he examined her calculations. "You're suggesting we make them think we have capabilities we don't?" "Better," Mai replied. "I'm suggesting we make them think we're planning something predictable, something their algorithms can anticipate, while actually doing something completely different." Commander Chen felt the first stirring of genuine hope. "We show them what they expect to see, and strike where they never look," Mai finished. General Santos remained skeptical. "You want to base Earth's survival on deception." "On brilliance," Chen corrected. "Human brilliance." The term stuck. Within hours, teams throughout the base referred to their strategy as the Brilliance Protocol. Tactical groups formed organically around different approaches: probability disruption, cultural infiltration, technological reverse engineering, and psychological warfare. Chen watched her unlikely army with growing confidence. Corexian precision versus human creativity. Mathematical perfection versus inspired improvisation. "The countdown continues," she reminded them as she moved through the crowded room. "But remember, time doesn't just work against us. Every day, we learn more about them. Every day, they understand us less." Outside, Earth glowed blue and white through reinforced viewports, a constant reminder of what they stood to lose, and what human brilliance might yet save. The Audacity drifted silently through the asteroid belt, its newly modified hull absorbing rather than reflecting sensor suites. The bridge remained dim, illuminated only by essential displays as they approached the Corexian supply depot orbiting Ceres. Maya Blackwell studied the holographic representation of Corexian patrol routes, her fingers tracing the elegant patterns. "Third quadrant patrol will pass in approximately 6 minutes. Their course hasn't deviated by more than 0.02 degrees in the last 14 cycles." "Predictable to a fault," Commander Chen murmured. "Jackson, what are our odds?" Jackson Wei closed his eyes briefly, running probability calculations in his head. "If they maintain current patterns, 78% chance of mission success. If they've adapted based on our previous raids, odds drop to 42%. Dr. Ramsey looked up from his chaos algorithms. "The beauty of true randomness is that it's uncomputable. They can't predict what they can't compute. The tension on the bridge thickened as a Correxian patrol ship passed less than 20 kilometers away, its crystalline hull gleaming in the distant sunlight. No one breathed until it continued on its mathematically perfect course. "They still haven't adapted," Chen said. "Zoe, are you ready?" Zoe Martinez adjusted her neural interface, the circuitry embedded in her fingerless gloves glowing softly. "Ready to make some noise." "Jackson, weapon status." He grinned, patting the makeshift console cobbled together from Earth technology and salvaged Correxian components. "Mining charges reconfigured as promised. They're not pretty, but they'll create one hell of a harmonic disruption." Chen nodded. "Execute on my mark." The Audacity accelerated toward the depot, its cloaking field straining against the increased energy signature. As they closed within striking distance, Chen gave the command. Now, dozens of modified mining charges launched toward the depot, their trajectories seemingly random. The Correxian automated defenses activated immediately, but they targeted based on predictive algorithms. Algorithms that failed completely against the chaotically programmed approach vectors. Half the charges detonated prematurely, creating a complex interference pattern that temporarily blinded Correxian sensors. The remainder struck key structural points, not to destroy the depot, but to destabilize its crystalline lattice structure. Phase 2, Chen ordered as the depot's shields flickered. Zoe's fingers danced across her interface, sending precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses toward the wounded station. "I'm in their systems. Their security is perfect against logical attacks, but completely unprepared for." She smiled. Jazz improvisation. On the main screen, Correxian communication symbols flashed in confused patterns as Zoe bypassed security protocols, not through brute force, but through unpredictable access attempts that confused the system's pattern recognition. "They're dispatching response teams," Maya warned, "tracking incoming signatures." "Right on schedule," Chen replied. "Dr. Ramsey." The chaos theorist activated a series of decoy drones that shot away from the Audacity in all directions, each broadcasting conflicting signatures. "Quantum uncertainties deployed, Commander." The approaching Correxian ships split up, pursuing multiple targets simultaneously. Their perfect formation dissolved into confusion. "We have 4 minutes before they realize none of the decoys are us," Jackson reported. Chen turned to Zoe. "Do you have what we need?" The hacker's face was illuminated by scrolling alien code. "Got it. Complete navigational database, including..." Her eyes widened. "Coordinates for what appears to be their command carrier." "Time to disappear," Chen ordered. As the Audacity slipped away, the crew watched Correxian ships continue to chase phantom targets throughout the asteroid belt. For the first time in the war, it wasn't humans running from aliens, but aliens chasing human ghosts. "They're still trying to solve us like an equation," Maya observed. Chen smiled. "Let's hope they never realize we're more like poetry than mathematics." Draxer knelt before the holographic representation of the Correxian High Command, their perfect crystalline bodies shimmering with status markings. His head remained bowed, scales reflecting the blue light of the transmission. "Explain these failures," demanded First Strategist Nexer, voice modulated to perfect harmonic frequencies. "The humans employ non-standard combat methodologies," Draxer replied carefully. "They utilize uncertainty as a tactical advantage." A ripple of dissonant tones, the Correxian equivalent of disapproval, filled the chamber. "Uncertainty is inefficiency," stated Second Strategist Cowrie. "Inefficiency leads to defeat. This is mathematical certainty." "Yet they succeed," Draxer countered, mandibles clicking softly as he composed his thoughts. "I have analyzed their attacks. There is a pattern to their unpredictability." "Contradiction," declared Nexer. "Truth," insisted Draxer. "The humans deliberately introduce variables to disrupt our computational advantages. They are not operating at random. They are systematically exploiting our expectation of order." He projected his analysis. a multidimensional representation of human attack vectors compared against standard response protocols. They anticipate our predictions and deliberately act against them. It is not chaos. It is meta-strategy. The High Command processed this information in silence. Finally, Nexer spoke. Implement countermeasures. Adapt. The transmission ended, leaving Draxer alone in his command chamber. He turned to his second-in-command. Introduce variation into our patrol routes. Randomize response protocols. We must learn to think. Imperfectly. In the medical bay of the Audacity, Commander Chen drifted in and out of consciousness. Her body, wrapped in regenerative bandages, worked to repair the damage from the last encounter. Through the haze of pain and medication, she heard voices. 3 more outposts gone, reported Maya. Draxer hit them with randomized attack formations. Not truly unpredictable, but enough to overcome our defensive algorithms. He's learning. Jackson sounded concerned. Incorporating our tactics. Can't. Let them. Master Chaos. Chen whispered through cracked lips. The others turned, surprised to find her conscious. Dr. Ramsey moved to her bedside. Save your strength, Commander. Chen gripped his wrist with surprising force. Adaptive adversaries. If they learn human unpredictability, then we lose our only advantage. Maya finished. Chen nodded weakly. Need to evolve. Faster than they can adapt. Not just random, but truly creative. Her eyes closed again as the medication pulled her back under. On Earth, deep beneath the ruins of Geneva, Dr. Patel worked feverishly in his laboratory. Surrounding him were the remnants of a Coraxian scout ship, its crystalline components disassembled and reconfigured. Quantum resonance patterns, he muttered, adjusting connections between human and alien technology. Their shields maintain coherence through perfect harmonics. He activated the prototype. A sphere of shimmering blue energy formed briefly before collapsing in a shower of sparks. Alarms blared as power surged through overloaded circuits. A research assistant rushed in with a fire extinguisher. Dr. Patel, are you all right? The scientist stared at the smoking device, his face illuminated by occasional electrical discharges. No, not all right, but closer. He made adjustments to his calculations. Their shields work because they maintain perfect order. Our chaos drive works by introducing specific harmonic disruptions. He looked up at the countdown display showing days until Earth's deadline. We need more power, more precision, and we need it soon. The assistant glanced nervously at the unstable integration of technologies. Even if we perfect it, the drive would need to be practically touching the Coraxian ship to work. Then that's what we'll have to do, Paddle replied grimly. Get close enough to touch them, then shatter their perfect harmony with human discord. The recovery room transformed into an impromptu command center as Chen insisted on continuing her duties. Holographic displays surrounded her medical bed, showing fleet deployments and Coraxian patrol patterns. The silver neural regenerative mesh covering the right side of her face pulsed softly with her heartbeat. Operation False Flag is working, Maya reported, manipulating the tactical display. Coraxian response units are consistently deploying to our decoy coordinates. Chen studied the movements with narrowed eyes. They're learning, though. Look at these secondary deployments. They're starting to hedge their bets. Jackson nodded. I calculated this. They're implementing probability distribution rather than committing fully to predicted targets. Adaptive behavior. Then we adapt faster, Chen said, wincing slightly as she shifted position. Zoe, status on Project Muse. The hacker's face appeared on a nearby screen, her workspace cluttered with both technical equipment and seemingly random cultural artifacts. Paintings, musical instruments, literature. Cultural infiltration proceeding better than expected. We've identified specific Coraxian communication channels used by their younger crew members. She displayed interception data showing unusual patterns in Coraxian ship-to-ship communications. Their junior officers are particularly susceptible to human creative expression. They have no equivalent in their culture, Art without mathematical purpose appears to fascinate them. Like showing color to someone who's only seen in black and white, Dr. Ramsey observed. Exactly, Zoe continued. I've been broadcasting Beethoven's Ninth mixed with Coltrane's improvisations, visual feeds of Jackson Pollock paintings alongside Van Gogh, and poetry ranging from Shakespeare to spoken word. Their communication patterns show increasing irregularities after exposure. Chen's face lit with determination, despite her injuries. Cultural chaos, beautiful, and the infiltration team. Maya brought up a different display, showing the small stealth craft approaching the crystalline architecture of the Coraxian communication relay. On schedule, Lieutenant Rice leads the team. They'll dock in approximately 20 minutes, using the sensor shadow created by our false attack on the Jupiter outpost. Draxer will expect deception, Chen cautioned. He's learning our methods. Which is why this time, we're hiding truth within deception within truth, Jackson replied with a gambler's smile. A triple bluff. Chen nodded. The false orders need to be perfect, authentic enough to pass initial inspection, but subtly flawed to avoid triggering deep verification protocols. Zoe's face reappeared on the screen. Already programmed. The algorithmic signatures mimic Draxer's command patterns with 97% accuracy, enough to pass automated verification, but not enough to withstand direct high-command scrutiny. How long until they realize they're chasing ghosts? Chen asked. Approximately 6 hours, Maya calculated. By then, their fleet will be scattered across the solar system. Chen's gaze drifted to the viewport where Earth hung like a blue jewel in the blackness. Her reflection overlaid the planet, scared but unbroken, just like humanity itself. We're not just fighting with ships and weapons anymore, she said softly. We're fighting with ideas, with imagination. The one resource corrections can't outproduce us on. Dr. Ramsey looked up from his calculations. Humans spent millennia creating art that serves no practical purpose, music with deliberate disharmony, stories that embrace contradiction. We cultivated chaos while they perfected order. And now, Chen said, watching as the infiltration team's signal winked out as they went dark for final approach. We'll see which evolutionary path prepared its species better for the unexpected. Dr. Patel massaged his temples as he stared at the neural pattern analysis. Around him, the war room had fallen silent, officers and scientists alike trying to comprehend the implications of his discovery. Their minds are, for lack of a better term, algorithmic, he explained, enlarging the holographic display of a Coraxian brain scan, where human neurons form complex, sometimes redundant pathways. Coraxian neural structures follow geometric progression patterns. Their thought processes literally follow mathematical functions. Commander Chen studied the display from her mobility chair, still recovering but refusing to remain in medical. This explains their tactical genius and their weakness. Exactly, Patel continued, highlighting specific structures. They process information with perfect efficiency, computing variations faster than any human mind could. But when faced with concepts that cannot be reduced to mathematical functions, like poetry, Chen suggested, or music without predictable patterns, or completely irrational actions, Patel nodded. Their processing systems essentially buffer, caught in recursive loops trying to identify the underlying pattern that doesn't exist. Maya approached the display, tracing the crystalline neural structures with her finger. This is why our cultural transmissions are causing such disruption. We're not just confusing them. We're essentially causing cognitive crashes. In the adjacent hangar, technicians worked feverishly on thousands of small drones, each barely larger than a coffee mug. Jackson supervised the loading of specialized equipment. Each drone carries minimum propulsion, basic shielding, and one high-intensity holographic projector. He explained as Chen's chair glided alongside him. Together, they can create the illusion of hundreds of warships executing maneuvers no sane commander would attempt. Because there is no commander, Chen observed. Just programmed chaos. Jackson smiled. Exactly. The flight patterns are based on everything from jazz improvisations to children's drawings. No logical species would ever execute these formations. And while they're shooting at ghosts, Chen began. The real fleet approaches through the solar corona. Jackson finished. The one place their sensors can't penetrate because of radiation interference. Chen watched the technicians work, aware of the countdown timer visible on every display throughout the base. 2 weeks remained before Earth's bombardment deadline. The shield modifications, she asked. Dr. Ramsey approached from the engineering bay, his hands stained with coolant fluid. We've reinforced the shields with polarized magnetohydrodynamic fields. They'll hold for approximately 18 minutes in the corona. Not comfortable, but survivable. And the chaos drives. Installed on all ships, Patel confirmed, joining them. But Commander, I must emphasize, they need to be within 100 meters of a Coraxian vessel to work effectively. Practically suicide range. Chen nodded solemnly. I'm aware. Have we received any response from the scout ships near the target coordinates? Maya checked her tactical display. Nothing yet. If Draxer's command carrier is where we think it is, our scouts are maintaining communication silence until confirmation. Chen turned her chair toward the viewport where the small fleet of remaining Earth vessels waited. Each had been retrofitted, modified, upgraded with salvage technology, and desperate innovation. The Coraxians expect us to fight conventionally and lose conventionally, she said quietly. They don't understand that humans have never excelled at convention. We're at our best when the rules say we should fail. She activated her comm system. All crew to final briefing in 30 minutes. Operation Phantom Fleet begins at 600. As officers hurried to comply, Dr. Patel studied Chen's expression. The mathematics suggests this has a 31% chance of success. Chen's scared face broke into a smile. Then we're already exceeding expectations. Humans have been beating the odds since we first looked at the stars. The Audacity erupted from the sun's corona alongside 6 other vessels, their shields glowing cherry red from the extreme temperatures. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship as cooling systems struggled against the residual heat. Hull temperature at critical levels, reported Lieutenant Costa. Shields holding at 18% capacity. Secondary systems failing, added Maya, her console sparking. Weapons powering up, but targeting systems are compromised. Commander Chen, now back on her feet though still bearing the silver neural mesh on her face, gripped the command rail. Stay on course. All ships, maintain formation, and prepare chaos drives for activation. The Coraxian command carrier loomed ahead, its crystalline structure catching the sun's light in prismatic patterns. For a moment, the human fleet had the element of surprise. Then alarm signals rippled across the alien vessel. They've spotted us, Jackson announced, calculating Coraxian response patterns. Before he could finish, space distorted around them as hidden Coraxian battlecruisers decloaked, their weapons already charged. The trap closed like a perfect geometric net. He anticipated us, Chen whispered, recognizing Draxer's strategy. The tactical display showed the grim reality. The human fleet was surrounded, outgunned, with nowhere to run. The comm system crackled with Draxer's precisely modulated voice. Commander Chen, your unpredictability has become predictable. You consistently choose the least probable tactical option. Therefore, I deployed countermeasures for the least probable approach vectors. Chen exchanged glances with her bridge crew. Zoe, activate the neural disruptors. Now. The hacker's fingers flew across her interface, broadcasting on all frequencies, targeting their neural patterns specifically. Throughout the Coraxian fleet, the carefully calibrated electromagnetic frequencies began interfering with the crystalline neural structures of the crew. The effect wasn't instantaneous, but within minutes, Coraxian communications became erratic, their perfect formation developing subtle imperfections. It's working, Maya reported. Their coordinated fire is degrading by 22%, 37%. All ships close to engagement range for chaos drives, Chen ordered. Boarding teams, prepare for launch. The human vessels accelerated toward the disoriented Correction ships, taking heavy damage but pressing forward with reckless determination. Chen strapped on her combat exoskeleton, designed to compensate for her still healing injuries. "Bridge to Lieutenant Reyes," she commanded. "I'm joining the boarding party." Dr. Ramsey looked up in alarm. "Commander, medical hasn't cleared you for." "This isn't about medical clearance," Chen cut him off. "It's about ending this war." The Audacity shuddered as it absorbed another hit, its shields flickering dangerously. They were committed now, too close to the Coraxian command carrier to retreat. "Chaos drives at full power," Jackson reported. "Effective range in 30 seconds. Chen checked her sidearm, a modified weapon incorporating Coraxian technology, and stepped toward the airlock where the boarding team waited. Target: Draxer's command deck. "Maya, you have the bridge." As Chen joined the assault team, Zou's voice came through the comm. "Commander, I'm detecting unusual readings from the Coraxian command carrier. Their central crystal matrix is changing, adapting to our neural disruption." Draxer, Chen realized. He's shielding himself somehow. The airlock opened to the sounds of battle as the human fleet engaged at point-blank range. Through the viewport, Chen could see the chaos drives activating across multiple ships, creating rippling distortions in the perfect crystalline structures of the Coraxian vessels. Whether he's shielded or not, Chen told her team as they prepared to launch, "We've come too far to turn back now. Humanity's future depends on what happens in the next 30 minutes. The boarding pods launched, streaking toward the Coraxian command carrier, like determined meteors against the backdrop of the largest space battle in human history. The Peace Conference Room in Geneva had been rebuilt from ruins, its architecture a deliberate blend of human aesthetics and Coraxian crystalline elements. Sunlight filtered through geometric patterns, casting prismatic rainbows across the assembled delegates. Admiral Chen, her new rank still feeling strange, stood at the central podium, the mural regenerative mesh, now a faint silver tracery on her face rather than the prominent lattice it had once been. Beside her stood Draxer, his scales bearing new markings that no other Coraxian displayed, markings that signified his unique status as the first of his kind to embrace imperfection. 6 months ago, our species were locked in a war that neither fully understood. Chen addressed the assembled representatives of Earth and the Coraxian High Command. "Today, we gather to formalize not just peace, but partnership." She gestured to the holographic display showing the prototype vessel hovering in Earth orbit, the Horizon. Its design incorporated the perfect crystalline technology of the Corrections, but with distinctly human modifications. Where Coraxian ships featured flawless symmetry, the Horizon embraced deliberate asymmetries. Where their vessels contained only functional elements, the Horizon incorporated artistic touches, sculpture-like protrusions that served both practical and aesthetic purposes. "The Horizon represents more than faster-than-light technology," Chen continued. "It represents the synthesis of two evolutionary approaches to intelligence, order and chaos. Precision and creativity, mathematical perfection and artistic inspiration." Draxer stepped forward, his movements more fluid than the rigid posture typical of his species. "My people have conquered 12 star systems," he stated, mandibles clicking rhythmically. "We encountered many species with superior numbers, some with comparable technology. None presented the challenge that humans did." His multifaceted eyes swept the room. "Because none approached problems as humans do, with solutions that defy computational prediction. You introduce variables where we seek constants. You find strength in disorder where we demand pattern." The Coraxian supreme leader, Nexer, rose from his crystalline seat. "Our evolutionary paths diverge. We pursued perfect efficiency in thought and action. Humans cultivated diversity of thought, embraced contradiction, preserved inefficiency." He gestured toward Chen with a formal movement of his upper appendages. "In our previous conquests, we catalog species as either useful or irrelevant. Humans represent something unprecedented. A species whose very irrationality produces outcomes our perfect logic could not anticipate. Chen nodded acknowledgement. And there lies the foundation of our alliance. Together, we are stronger than the sum of our parts. She activated a secondary display showing star charts that extended far beyond Earth's solar system. The galaxy contains threats neither of us has encountered yet. Species who may find both our approaches to intelligence challenging. The first crew assignments for the horizon appeared on the display. Human and Correxian names listed side by side. 5 years ago, the Correxian fleet arrived to conquer Earth. Today, humans and Correxians prepare to explore the stars together. Chen's gaze found Dr. Patel in the audience, then Maya, Jackson, Zoe, and the others who had fought alongside her. Not because either of us submitted to the other, but because we recognized in our differences a brilliance greater than either could achieve alone. As the treaty signatures were finalized, Chen stepped away from the podium to join Draxer at the viewport overlooking the rebuilt city. Beyond the horizon, stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. "They're watching, you know," Draxer commented, gesturing toward distant stars. "Other civilizations. They're calculating what our alliance means." Chen smiled. "Let them calculate. Some equations defy simple solutions."